all my fight fans? International Fight Week. We got ourselves UFC 290 this Saturday, and I cannot wait. I'm excited. I am very much looking forward to this Saturday. We got ourselves in the main event. Alexander Volkanovski taking on Yair Rodriguez for the featherweight championship of the world. We already know Alexander Volkanovski is just this beast, this tank of a man, this monster of a man. This guy can literally do anything and everything in that cage. You know, we've seen what he was able to do in Max Holloway in that third fight. We've seen what he was able to do to survive against Brian Ortega when he almost got submitted in that third round. We've seen what he was able to do to the also pound for pound king, Islam Makhachev. You know, Islam Makhachev should have ran over Volkanovski on paper, but Volkanovski pretty much gave Islam the toughest fight of all time, of his whole career, I should say. And it was actually debated whether or not Alexander Volkanovski actually won the fight. So, guys, Volkanovski is by far the greatest, probably the GOAT when it comes to the featherweight champion of the world. He's taking on Yair Rodriguez. Yair Rodriguez is no punk. He's very talented, very skillful, you know, with his kicks, with his knees. He's very unpredictable with his striking. You know, he actually has some really good grappling, but we saw what he was able to do to Josh Emmett back in February, and we see what kind of tough task he was able to handle with Max Holloway. Even though he lost that fight, but he was able to give Max Holloway a good few rounds of his own. You know, Max Holloway won that fight clear, fair and square. But like I said, Yair Rodriguez is no punk, and he's able to take the punishment. He's able to take some to give some. And that's what Volkanovski is willing to do as well. Can Volkanovski handle that really fast lightning strikes that is Yair Rodriguez likes to deliver? You know, those fast leg kicks, those fast jabs, those fast power punches. He is really, really lightning speed when it comes to the featherweight championship. He's probably a featherweight division. He's probably the most fast featherweight right now, I would say. Volkanovski is definitely the most powerful. With Volkanovski, we already know. With Yair Rodriguez having a height advantage and a reach advantage, that seems to really never phase Volkanovski, because Volkanovski stands around 5'6". I want to say his reach is probably like maybe 72, 73, maybe a little less, give or take. But either way, you know, he's always been the shorter opponent in all of his fights, with Islam, with Max Holloway, with Brian Ortega, and now Yair Rodriguez. So I really don't think that's going to phase Volkanovski in this fight. Who do I favor in this fight? I feel like I favor Volkanovski. I feel like his takedown defense and his own takedowns that he delivers on his own is just something that you don't want to mess with. Something that he is just, he's just too strong. He is so strong and so powerful that he was able to do what he was able to do in the lightweight division against Islam. Where Islam, you know, he pretty much ran over everybody in that division, no problem. Well, not everybody. There's a few people he has yet to fight, but you know what I'm saying. You know, Volkanovski, on the other hand, when it comes to striking, who is the best striker of the world in the MMA right now, in UFC right now? Max Holloway. Max Holloway pretty much is by far the best boxer in UFC. And Volkanovski was able to just destroy Max Holloway in that third fight. Pretty much gave him the worst beating of all three fights. So right now, Volkanovski is pretty much looking like untouchable. Now, is it possible that he could land a good knee, a good elbow, like he did against Korean Zombie? Remember Yair Rodriguez in that last fight, in the last second, he landed that flashy elbow and knocked out Korean Zombie? Yeah, it is. It's very possible. You know, you can never count out Yair Rodriguez, because even at that very last second, he can actually do something. He can actually make something happen. But if you're a betting man, if you want to go against the favorite, that would definitely be the favorite, would be against Alexander Volkanovski for sure. You know, and in the co-main, you got yourself Brandon Moreno against Pantoja. And in this fight, if you believe it or not, Pantoja already has 2 wins over Brandon Moreno. So in some kind of weird sense, he might have Brandon Moreno's number, but this was a couple years ago. This was prior to Brandon Moreno taking on Deiveson Figueiredo 4 times, plus Kai Kara France. So, you know, Brandon Moreno in that meantime has gotten really, really good, you know, with his skills and being able to win the championship over Deiveson Figueiredo. He lost it, then won it back and such. He's actually looked really amazing. Pantoja has looked pretty good as well, but I feel like out of the both of them, Moreno has actually skyrocketed and really become into his own, you know, in his own class within the flyweight division. and being able to become champion and use the new skills and use the new techniques that he was able to develop over time, especially in between the fights with Deiveson Figueiredo, because he had to. You know, he had a fight where there was a draw, then he had a fight where he lost, and then he had a fight where he wanted, basically he had to get that championship. He won the championship, and he had to get it back. So I feel like when it comes to championship fights, you learn a lot from yourself. Not saying all the other fights don't mean anything. They do mean something. They really, really do. But when it comes to, like, you want to become that championship, it's almost you put a little more into it. When it comes to defending your belt, you put a little more into it. When it comes to winning that belt, you put a little more into it. When you're fighting just on a regular fight, yeah, you want to get there. But now when you're at that big stage and you're actually going to win that belt, you're trying your best to really reach the top of the mountain. And then when you're on the top of the mountain, you're trying your best to stay on the top of the mountain. And that's what Brandon Moreno has pretty much been able to accomplish. And so that's why I would definitely give the edge to Brandon Moreno, just because he has been champion, he's been on top of the mountain, and he's learned how to stay on top of that mountain. And now he wants to do it again. And now this is actually a little bit motivation for him, because he wants that revenge. He wants to show, like, hey, you may have got me those 2 fights, but I'm going to get you the 3rd one. Pantoja has his own motivation as well. This is his first time at a shot at the championship. He doesn't know if he's going to be able to get another one. And he has that confidence of knowing that he beat Brandon Moreno before. So hopefully he's not overconfident and doesn't, like, hey, expect the exact same Brandon Moreno, just like Brandon Moreno shouldn't expect the exact same Pantoja. Should be a very interesting fight, but I definitely got Brandon Moreno going.